Yeah, the 12 will work because, like I said, it's all the first 6 weeks is all training and shadowing. I'll have to travel out a few times, but not a big deal at all. So,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Well,
So,
yeah. I see you in your Sixers.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I only
Shout
get
out to
I only
Joel
get to wear it
Embiid.
like 5 times a year. Because when they actually are relevant. I'm just kidding. Nah, he Embiid is he's a fool, man. Because just get into that real quick, man. I was looking at some of the highlights of the game. I was like, every time he got Wimby on him, man, he just started bullying that young kid. I was like, poor kid. I was like,
He
he
did.
don't know.
He did mistreat him. He did. He
Well,
mistreated him.
but it was so funny because what Embiid, he didn't do anything. It, it was set up for something like that because I think what it said the matchups were kind of crazy. Like they really didn't have anybody that could really match up with Embiid. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think like a handful of people were out, or they were resting them or something. So I think they only
Oh,
had
really? Okay.
I think they only had like 8 players or 9 players for that game, 8 players or something. So basically, they just, Embiid probably went into the game thinking, hey, I'm gonna shoot about 35, 40 times anyway. So let me go ahead and see if I can, and I mean, NBA players, once they get into a groove, they pros
Yeah.
for a reason. I
But
mean,
what they say, he was the first player in history to score 70 points, 15 rebounds, and five.
for 5 blocks or something like that,
I
probably
think it was 5 blocks.
5 assists,
Because
whatever. I don't
because
know.
I feel like there was no assist. I feel like there was no assist.
Well, it couldn't have been assists. I did no way
I
because
feel like it wasn't assist. I think
every
it's
time he got the
he was
ball,
trying.
he shot something. He did something. Whether he was throwing it up over his head, shooting threes, drop,
Yeah,
fade up, pull ups, take it to the
yeah. I
rack.
don't. I'm pretty sure it wasn't assist. It
Nah,
had to be blocked. I think. But
yeah, had to be blocks.
I didn't. Well, I saw a few of the shooting highlights, but what was funny to me was his post game interview when they were talking to him and they let him know he broke Wilt Chamberlain's score record for the Sixers, and then they let him know that he had made history. No player had done the 70, 15, and 5, and he was like, "Wilt never did that." Like, he was so surprised. He was because I can't remember who he was talking to, but they were like, "Yeah," they were like, "No, Wilt never did
Oh
that." He was
no,
like, "Are you sure?"
no, 70, 18, and 5 assists.
Oh, it was 5 assists. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, he
Okay.
was 24. He was 24 or 41 from the field. He hit it. He was 1 or 2, hit 1 3, which I would have thought. So that's amazing that he only
That it
hit
was only 1 3.
1. Uh,
Yeah.
I think he hit like 21 free throws or something like that. So he was on the line and something like that. But he had 18 boards, 5 assists, 1 steal, 1 block.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is
He
crazy.
only hit 1 3-pointer in that whole thing. So that was like old school. You know what I'm saying? 2 point,
Yeah.
2 point you to death. 2 point you to
Yeah.
death. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's like the Kareem with the sky hook 2 points.
I'm saying, like, yeah, because Kareem wasn't stepping out. But I'm just saying, like, that's crazy that means pretty much every 4 out of every 5 possessions went to him. It had to. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the ball, I mean, you
Right.
2 point a person to death, 2 point a team to death like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy. That's like running the ball, right? We're gonna run the ball.
Yeah.
Run the ball.
Yeah.
Run the ball, 2 point. Just running it down your throat. MB down your
We
throat.
just gonna keep running.
Yeah, nah. But then when I saw it take Cats had 62, I was like, and then
Yeah.
he had 62 in a loss.
That's terrible. That is
And the
terrible.
coach was pissed. Coach was like, "This team is immature." He's like, we can win more games if everybody would be adults." We ain't got no adults in the building. That was funny. Did you see
Yeah.
the I saw the clip where they showed KD. Did you see
Yeah.
that? KD was like 70. He was like,
Yeah. He was like
he
70.
like, damn,
Yeah. He's like, he had 70. Because
brother put that
didn't KD have like 40 or 50 last night too?
something like that. But I'm just
Like,
saying,
it was a stupid high scoring night for individuals last night.
yeah, I know what he's saying though. Just a quick analysis when he's talking about how the schemes and the skill big man. I give him that because skill is skill. I mean,
Right.
like you can't take that away from a person and individually. but I'm gonna have to disagree with him a little bit on the coaching because coaches don't coach defense no more. There's probably about 10 coaches in the league that actually coach defense.
That
Everybody
is a
coach.
lost art form.
Yeah, so it's kind of like the same as you see football, you don't see a lot of teams concentrate on actually developing big men on the line and actually developing run schemes. They try to get the quarterbacks and the small receivers now have a say right in offenses. You know, Wells Welker and the boys started that where you can do these little option routes and stuff like that. But you don't need you can have a team full of small receivers and still win games. Back in the day, everybody wanted you need to have that one big receiver. There's a lot of teams
Somebody needed to be
don't have that
6'2".
big receiver.
Yeah, somebody needed to be 6'2", 6'3", something.
At least six something, right? Like, yeah. So it's just different, man. But yeah, the NBA is a little different offensively, but it's all good. I mean, it's entertaining. Like I said, he can win all the games, put up 70. I'm here for it. Holler at me when you get to the playoffs. But man, I've been looking at these clips all day. I saw you posted something with the Ryan Clark stuff, and it seemed like I was watching earlier this week, when they started out talking about Ryan Clark and everything about Josh Allen, the whole thing. So, I mean, what was that you posted? I mean, what was you
Well, him and Dan it was yesterday.
Monday or yesterday?
Him and Dan Orlovsky, because I knew Dan Orlovsky was on. I was like, because it was funny. In one of the chats that I'm in on Sunday, as the game was winding down, they were talking about Romo. They were like, Romo's gonna cry in his dressing room about Josh Allen losing. And I said,
But
not
Romo-
as much as Dan Orlovsky's gonna cry, because Romo really likes Josh Allen. Like, Romo's Josh Allen obsession is almost like John Madden was with Brett Favre.
Okay.
It's that kind of thing when it's going, because I was like, dude, they lost, right? You still going, like, game over, you still going on and on and on about Josh Allen. He didn't win. Was Patrick Mahomes. Like, we was like, we still talking about Josh Allen? And so, but my thing is I was like, well, Romo can relate to being the great white hype that everybody wants to be successful and do well, but he can't get out of his own way most of the time. That was my perspective. But anyway, moving forward to yesterday, Dan Orlovsky, like, they make these massive apologies for Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Clark, his whole thing was,
oh, yeah, okay. I know
he was like, we're not making these apologies for everybody. And the reality is, he was like, nobody's blaming him for the loss, because Dan was trying to argue y'all was blaming him for the loss, and Ryan was like, I'm not blaming him for the loss. It's not his fault that they lost. He was like, but they lost. He was like, and in order for him to take that next step to being a great quarterback, at some point he's got to win. He's got to win these matchups, because, and his point was that, great players, the reason why you put people in the Hall of Fame, great players and so forth, is that their impact and their change on the game. And at some point, 9 times out of 10, they're not the reason their team lost, but they are the reason their team won. He said, so at some point, Josh Allen has to take that next step. And can we please stop elevating him to the next level before he takes the next step? Like, because he hasn't taken that step yet. Like, we get it. He has potential to be one of the greatest quarterbacks we've ever seen. But and whether it's fair or not, yes, football is one of the greatest team sports ever. But when you look at QBs, one of the things that we factor in, even though they aren't solely responsible for it, when we factor in the conversation of greatness, wins and losses count. Wins and losses count, because when you're looking at history, nobody's looking back. And in the history book, it doesn't tell you that when he lost to Patrick Mahomes the first time, when he left the field, there was only 13 seconds left on the clock and his defense failed him. History doesn't tell you that. History, when you look at it, history gonna be like they lost.
Okay, so let me
History's
ask
not
you
going to
this.
tell you that his kicker made it wide right this last time.
Well, let me.
And
I
so,
guess my question to you would be is,
mhm,
do we have to look at it that way? Because I personally don't try to follow the same trend that everybody else looks at. I'm not saying that that's not the way people want to look at it, but the fact that you just made that comment makes me go to the opposite end of it. I'm not, and this ain't about Josh Allen. This is just about quarterbacks in general. Because you know
right.
me, I think quarterback wins is the dumbest stat in the history of football. But it's just one of those, in my opinion, lazy conversations to have. This quarterback beat that quarterback. We know that's not the case, but that's always somehow gets defaulted to the question and the answer. Patrick Mahomes beat Josh Allen. No, he didn't beat Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes beat the Bills. Josh Allen lost to the Chiefs. So the point I'm saying is, I agree with you on him losing and not
Right.
going so far as to say, well, this is reason why, this is reason why. But it just cracks me up because we ain't talking about like an Andy Roddick, Roger Federer situation in tennis where Andy Roddick just could not beat Roger Federer
Right.
one on one. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, as good as Andy Roddick was, he got one Grand Slam, but he couldn't win anymore. I mean, I remember to this day, and again, I'm sorry, it's just different for me. I remember watching that Wimbledon final against him and Roger Federer going into that fifth and final set. And this dude did everything except go across the net and break Roger Federer's legs that day. And he still couldn't beat this
Still
man.
couldn't beat him. Right.
And so my point is, that's the point I made about the whole Bills team in general, is that it just seems like something with them and the Chiefs in the playoffs, something ain't gonna go right. Whether it's Josh Allen not playing the par or in the moments or whatever, the kicker missing the kick, the defense not holding. It's just like something about that game and that team. But I'm just looking at it as, we all know football. And we look
Right.
at Brady, it's easy to just say Brady got 7. But we know that 4 of those 7 could have easily went the other way.
Without Adam Vinatieri.
One play.
But
Well, not even out of Vinatieri, just won a couple of plays. And then here's the flip side of that, though. Here's the funny part. But Eli got 2, and we can make the argument that Eli, 2 or 3 plays for Eli, and he lose the break.
well, yeah, because honestly,
David
Eli's
Tyree
first Super
catch.
Bowl, Eli's first Super Bowl is because the football stuck to your man's helmet.
That's
And
what I'm
it's
saying.
but be that as it may, whether it's a fair assessment factorization or either putting it in there like, because we know the quarterbacks don't actually play each other.
No, I get
But
that.
but it is what it is. It's
An
always going
it's
to
an
be a part of the
accomplishment that
conversation.
you have to have the accomplishment of winning to be
Right.
put in the conversation of quote unquote the all-time greats. I'm not disagreeing with that.
Right. And that was Ryan Clark's whole point.
And I'm okay with that. But here's my point with, and I get it, not because I remember now. But let's not get it twisted. There's some people that's putting blame on Josh Allen. I mean, even Shannon Sharp said it and then tried to retract it. And I'm like, Shannon, you literally said the man came up small. No one's saying that. Again, I'm not gonna make apologies for him. To my point is this: whatever your definition of great is, just stick with it and run with it. I think that everybody has a different definition, and then when we get into these debates about different quarterbacks, or everybody has a different definition of elite or definition of, serviceable or manageable. So to me, a lot of times I think people are having conversations and they're not on the same level of what they're considering good level, elite, all that is. Because here's my thing: are we gonna count a Super Bowl wins or Super Bowl appearances? Are we gonna count MVPs? Like, what are we counting? You see what I'm saying? Because to me,
Right.
elite, okay, or is elite skill. Like, so that's the thing with me is I'm trying to understand especially when I'm listening to people like Clark. I think they're both making decent points, but they're just not on the same page because, to your point, you gotta have some level of accomplishment, in my opinion.
Well, and that's
to
the
be
thing.
great.
And one of the
And
reasons
I don't think
too,
going to a Super Bowl or winning a bunch of playoff games. I think elite is skill, but greatness is accomplishment. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, I think
yes, it does. And
Okay.
that's what and that is what that's what Ryan Clark was trying to say.
Okay.
Like Ryan was like, you can't call the man great if he hasn't accomplished
I'm with that.
anything
I'm okay with that.
to make him
I'm
great.
on that.
And Dan's argument is, but he's talking about the yards and the this and the that and all the things.
I don't do the stat thing. I don't do the stat
thing. And Ryan Clark is like, but he hasn't won anything yet.
And it's unfortunate.
So he was just
to your point, and to go back to my point, it's unfortunate that he plays for the Bills. It's unfortunate because regardless of how good he is and how good he can be, it's just like anything else. It's like all the football. I mean, and you only get one game, so it's not like basketball where you can have an injury in one part and then you got 2 or 3 games to make it up. You get one game.
And what?
Go ahead. No, go ahead. No,
I was gonna say also, but what was good today, they had Jeff Saturday on the panel. Dan wasn't there, but of course they brought the whole conversation up again. And Jeff Saturday made the point, like, because Louis Riddick was, trying to make the argument. He was like, y'all are just moving the goalposts, and Jeff Saturday was like, listen, I lived this with Peyton Manning
all day long. That's what I was about to go.
He was like, I lived this with Peyton Manning. He said, and the reality is, the narrative on Peyton Manning did not change until we won a Super Bowl. He was just like, until the man won a Super Bowl, he was like, Peyton Manning was one of the best pure passers you've ever seen. The numbers he put up was ridiculous, but the knock on him is that in the biggest games, he did not show up.
Well, see, now hold up. And
he said, and he couldn't get it done. He couldn't get us over the hump. He couldn't win. He said, and it just is what it is. He was like, Josh Allen is living in that world until he was like, you're going to have to, you got to, at some point, beat the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. He was like, but then you got to win a Super Bowl. He was like, because Jeff did say, he said, because y'all want to make Joe Burrow great. He was like, yes, Joe Burrow beat Kansas City and got to the Super Bowl. He's like, but he didn't win it.
Thank you. And so that was so we're on point with that. I would say the difference between what we've seen from Josh Allen, and I'm only talking Josh Allen because we can get into a Lamar conversation here in a second as well. I'm only talking Josh Allen, and you look at Peyton Manning. I think the discrepancy, because I think the perception and the visual is also part of the narrative for Peyton. Because remember, I'm going to these games, right? I got the season tickets. I'm watching him win 13 games a season, 14 games a season, putting up 4,500, 4,800 yards, 5,000 yards, and then you get in the playoffs and you don't perform. I think the difference is, as far as the perception, in my opinion, I think this is where maybe like a Dan Orlovsky and all these guys are coming from, is Josh has only really played one bad playoff game. Not saying he's played a bunch of good playoff games, but he's only maybe come up short one time, and I think that was the Joe Burrow game, in my opinion.
Last year,
he came up short at home, right? Everybody's like, come on, Josh. Like, damn, and so.
And Ryan Clark made that point too. Ryan Clark was like, Joe Burrow came to your, because by this point he was frustrated, because he was like, Joe Burrow came to your trap and beat you in your trap. He was like, and this year Patrick Mahomes came to your trap and beat you in your trap.
But but the point I'm making is, though, I don't look at Josh and Peyton in the same light in that sense. And again, you feel like I know what he's saying, but again, I know it's the way you say it. That Patrick Mahomes beat it. All I'm saying is that Peyton was playing MVP level football every season, and you get in the playoffs, and so he was at a 10 all season long, and then played at a 3. What I'm saying is, you've seen Josh Allen play at an 8 or 9. And then play at a 7, which is not that far off of what he normally plays, and his team is still losing. So I think that's the argument that people are trying to make, is when he does lose these games to the other team, in some cases there is other reasons, as opposed to when we look at Peyton Manning back in the day until he actually won the game against the Patriots and then won the Super Bowl. And here you could argue in the Super Bowl, the Prince halftime Super Bowl. People were making the argument that the running backs were the MVP. That Peyton really didn't play just MVP star game. So to me, it's all perspective. The bottom line is the results the same. At the end of the day, your team has got to pull it off. Your team needs to catch the football. Your team needs to know the narrative. I got to catch that pass because if not, my quarterback is not going to get the shine that he probably should get by making that throw to me, Stephon Diggs. Catch the damn ball. But I'm not making an excuse for Josh. I'm just saying help him get through this narrative.
As they say,
because the Chiefs did their job. Think about it. The Chiefs did their job. They say, hey, we got the dude over here, Patrick Mahomes. We're going to catch the ball. We're going to kick the ball. His kicker didn't miss. All these guys caught your boy was catching passes. What is his name? MVS?
Yes. He caught because he caught two. He made two catches. And one of the passes that he caught
was like a hand catch like this. I was like something.
Yeah, because it was like, and one of them he caught was away from his body. And you remember earlier when he dropped that pass against the Eagles, Shannon had pointed out he was like he's a body catch.
And he caught it.
Body catcher.
And now we all looking at it. Little niece, now we all looking at it. We all looking at it.
Right. I remember watching the game because when he had to reach out for it, I was like, oh no, it's not a body catch. He's not gonna make it. And then he caught it. And I was like, oh, he caught the pass with a body catch.
I want to be real clear. Like I said, in my opinion, I think Josh Allen is an elite talent. I'm not gonna put great, and people use that word. I'm not putting Joe Burrow. I'm not doing these greats because I think accomplishments count. And I think it's unfortunate that you can play for a team that shows up. You can play for a team that don't show up. Maybe you don't show up. At the end of the day, I just wish that the Bills would have the same sense of urgency at times to match his, because I mean, hell, like damn, like one play, like it's crazy how one play can change an entire history of football. One freaking play, one catch, and the field goal. He makes the field goal. They tie the game, so we don't know who wins the game because everybody always acts like
So we're assuming that had they tied the game, they would have worked it out to win.
No, that's not true. But we don't know that. Still on the field, right? But I'm just thinking about like you said, all the vintage, like somebody said, the vintage kicks, the defenses that Seattle had on the field for Russell Wilson, right? Because all of a sudden Russell Wilson is a Hall of Famer, but one can make the argument, what did he do in that game? Right. Peyton Manning didn't have a shot that game. The Legion of Boom was ridiculous that game.
They came out on a mission. And from the minute the ball was kicked off, it was all Legion of Boom.
Peyton Manning, I remember that press conference. Peyton Manning was like, there was nothing I could do. Like, what do you want me to do? I mean, I take 2 steps, somebody was in my face. Like, so all I'm saying is football. Everybody just pump your brakes on both sides. I think I'm just saying, like, I get that Dan and Ryan, that's what they do for a living, and that's probably, they gonna get into it and everything. I'm just more of the opinion that you and your team has to accomplish something for you yourself in an individual state to be considered amongst the greats, right? Because Emmitt Smith could have ran for 50,000 some yards. If he didn't have 2 Super Bowl rings, we would just call him another great running back. But another good
Barry Sanders.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Another Barry Sanders is only reason people try to put the grade on him because of his elite talent, and everybody knew that he was on a better team with a better offensive line, he would have been. But again, can you do that?
And the fact that they feel like had he played longer,
right?
But he retired early.
The point is, when we talk about the Jim Browns, when we talk about the Emmitt Smiths, when we talk about the Walter Paytons, right? We put them in the great category. Why? Because they were on the team that got the ring. They was on the team that got that chip. So no, I get it. Like I said, I just don't. I'm not going to build Josh Allen up just like I'm not going to build. Just like right now, they're talking about giving the MVP to Lamar Jackson, which now makes me question what do we value in MVP, because it's still a subjective, award.
It's definitely subjective, and
because I'm like, do we value stats? Do we value wins? Do we value
around the time that Peyton Manning was winning MVPs, it really became it just became a quarterback award, because I still say that Christian McCaffrey is the MVP.
And I agree with you 100%.
I still would give the MVP to Christian McCaffrey. There has been although Lamar has played he's played outstanding this year.
I think Christian McCaffrey is the best football player in the game right now.
Right. But as far as most valuable player, and we not gonna be able to get nothing done without the little engine that could, it's Christian McCaffrey.
Nah, I guess the thing is, to that point, that's why I have a problem. And people go, oh, you go hating on Lamar Jackson. I have a problem with him winning it because I don't think that it's almost like not necessarily moving the goalpost, but it's like you change the goalpost. It's like instead of now the goalpost is one short and one long. Then the next season is like this, and the next season is this wide. The next season is like it's like if you are going to pick the best football player that we saw play this season, and the one player that had the most impact on the team, not only offensively, but we can make an argument that he had our impact on the team defensively because of the fact that he's a runner and the fact that he's a possession guy. There's no way in the hell that you do not give that award to Christian McCaffrey. And I'm okay with Brock Purdy. I'm not trying to put him elite and Joe Montana. I wasn't trying to do it, but I think Brock Purdy would say, yeah, that's that dude right there. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that dude.
But he did when he was in the running for the MVP, and they asked him what he thought about being in the running for MVP, Brock Purdy, that is, and he was like, the MVP is Christian McCaffrey. Like he was honest about that.
And I think that's respectful of the fact that even though he's played well enough to get talked about, I just don't understand like when something is that. I mean, we love football.
And now, Dominique Foxworth, he's been saying all season, he was like, because that when they start having conversations about who's the MVP, and before every conversation, he was like he gets frustrated. He was like, I don't know why we insist upon only putting quarterbacks in here. He said, because it's Christian McCaffrey.
I don't get it.
He was like, he said, it's okay. He said, I know. And he has even said, he was like, I want y'all to stop calling it the most valuable player and just say the most valuable quarterback. He was like, are the best quarterback for the season. He said, because y'all picked the quarterback that's
and then create the narrative, and then you create a narrative around it that everybody jumps on, and like I said, I'm not
right. And he was like, he said, but if you're gonna leave it the most valuable player, he said it's okay for you to pick somebody that's not quarterback because there are other people that play positions in football. And every time he has said this season, he was like, it's Christian McCaffrey. He was like, every week it's Christian McCaffrey. And for a little bit of time when AJ was on his run, he was like, you could say it's AJ Brown. He was like, but there are no quarterbacks this year that are MVP. And nobody, if you really think about it,
all
season long.
If you really think about it because even if you want to go with pure stats, there's no quarterbacks that, I mean, the only stat out there that you can say, but you can't, it just depends on like your criteria. For me, it's the first thing I always say is this: if the player is accounting for half of your offense, and I'm not saying throwing touchdown passes because it's almost to me like this to point to Don's point, and this is my point. We look at a quarterback and we say, okay, the quarterback touches the ball because they're calling the plays, and most times they're touching the ball, whatever. A quarterback's job is to what?
Distribute the football.
Primarily the primary thing that nobody else on the field should be able to do better than what this person should do is what? Throw the football.
Throw the football.
Right? It is not the quarterback's job to complete the pass. That takes two. Right? It is his job to get the ball to the right person at the right time in the area where he needs to throw, making the right play. And a lot of quarterbacks can't even do that. And for some reason we give them, props. But then you have situations where you get drops. You have situations where, hey, you got to get a defense that one credit. They just made a great athletic play and picked you off or got you. But the bottom line is we're awarding a position for what they do and what they should do, and not awarding the positions of what people do outside of the things the impact that McCaffrey has is beyond running back.
Right.
But because
he runs and he catches.
But not only that, but his impact. Like,
right.
It's kind of like the one year that Aaron Donald was going off, and everybody was thinking, man, he could be the MVP of the league this year. The impact that he had, he not only was getting sacked, but this man was literally having to be triple teamed that year.
Right.
Which opened up everything else for the other parts of the defense, which is one of the primary reasons why they won. And so when you look at the quarterback, it's like, oh, he's throwing. It's like, okay, they're putting up numbers, but are those numbers really the true impact of what's happening? And when I look at certain quarterbacks this year, nobody put up any quote unquote impactful numbers from a quarterback. You throw the ball 30 times, that's your job. So, I mean, it is what it is. I ain't trying to hate on Lamar Jackson. I mean, and funny, ain't it funny how we was just this time last year thinking that Lamar Jackson could have been a Dolphin, or Lamar Jackson could have been a 49er, or Lamar Jackson could have been, like, remember he had a contract dispute at the beginning of the season. We all tend to forget.
I know he could have been a Falcon. He could have been all the things, but everybody said they didn't want to get into the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes.
Only two teams even asked about him. That's crazy. And now this dude
nobody wanted to get into the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, so here we are.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you like this. It ain't no foregone conclusion, because I was saying Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, man, they got some something going on. I mean,
not something going on.
I mean, you gotta give them credit to just be able to coach it. They are truly this era's Patriots, because if you look, I mean, we always said it was like, look, man, the Patriots, yeah, they good, they win the division. The division sucks, so they should win the division. And then they get in the playoffs and they just make those 1 or 2 plays. The Chiefs did not do anything. People talking about, oh, Patrick Mahomes threw for 212 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like Patrick Mahomes
he did not light up. He did not light up. And I'm not
game.
saying that he didn't play well. I'm just saying we're acting like it's vintage Patrick Mahomes, like he's putting up 4 touchdowns and throwing for 350. He's literally like, I'm managing this game. I'm handing the ball off, and my defense is playing well. I just need to do my job this year.
And look, I need to not turn the ball over.
Which he had also been doing this year, because he probably was forcing it a little bit here and there.
Right. And
they
so
literally,
this game, though,
they literally showed up and played for this man, and he was like, "Oh, thank you, Pacheco, for running the ball. Thank you, Kelsey, for now catching the ball again. You forget you are Travis Kelsey, right? Thank you. MVS, I don't know where that came from, but I'll take it. Because I mean, I don't even think.
Rice has been coming on the past 3 4 weeks to see, and I told people in the beginning of the season.
Rice has been balling.
I told people in the beginning of the season, I was like, Rice gonna be solid. He just needs some time to get there, and you can see where, I don't know. Look, I'm gonna start a conspiracy theory. I feel like maybe they called Eric Bieniemy and had him come to a practice or two.
Here we go.
Since the Commanders are done.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say they had Eric come into the building to talk to them dudes on offense and be like, listen, son, this is how you read a defense. I feel like that's what happened.
Do you know that Patrick Mahomes only threw 27 touchdowns this year and 14 picks? And again, why do we talk about him the way we talk about him? Because he's already accomplished something. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you would normally look at that and be like, what? 27 and 14?
Right, because you almost threw as many picks as you did. You threw half the amount of picks as you did touchdowns almost.
But the narrative is always different, because if you haven't accomplished anything, then it's like, man, you messing up the team.
Because you haven't accomplished anything. Because then what they'll tell you is they'll be like, well, he's won 2 Super Bowls. He's been to 3.
Oh, God. And he was probably the best player on the field in the third.
And then when he was the best player on the field, kind of like last year with our Super Bowl, like even though the Chiefs won, everybody was like, Jalen Hurts was the best player on the field.
All right, bro. Oh my goodness. I was looking at his stats like, wait a minute. Because people, Patrick Mahomes had a great game. I'm like, he threw 2 touchdowns and 212 yards. That's it.
Right. He had an average QB game. He had a game manager's game.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to right now, Ladise. It's like, you don't have to be. And that's why I'm saying, that's when you know your team showed up. Because he didn't have to put up 4. You know what I'm saying? Like, he ain't got to put up these crazy stats to win. Oh, anyway, man. But hey, look, let's just call it what it is, boy. Because the freaking what you said, the kneecap biting.
Kneecap biting Lions. Come on, Detroit, stand up.
Are you kidding me right now? Are you
Detroit, stand up.
absolutely
Listen,
kidding me?
and one more time for the one time, because I told y'all last week I'm passenger 57 right now, pulling for everybody black. So the GM, because I had to argue with somebody today when I said that, I was like, well, I'm going for Detroit. So I'm pulling for everybody black. And they were like, well, Detroit doesn't have a black head coach or a black QB. I was like, they don't, but they got a black GM and he's an Aggie.
See,
Aggie pride.
you keep defining what your blackness comes in at, man. You didn't go all the way to the GM. You didn't skip
Aggie pride. Okay, Aggie pride.
Aggie
and
pride
he's an
is
Aggie.
one thing.
I probably wouldn't even care, but he's an Aggie. Aggie pride. Get into this, Pete. Aggie pride, okay?
I'm okay with the Aggie pride, but I'm not gonna keep skipping over the levels of blackness. There's levels. Not the coach, not the quarterback. Oh, we're gonna go to the GM now.
We're going to the GM. And I never go to the GM, but I am in this instance
You didn't want the Buccaneers to win. You can go your Aggie pride all you want. It was still a sweet victory for you to watch the Bucs lose.
Absolutely. Because I'm not pulling for the Bucs for nothing. And let me just say, the Green Bay Packers had me stressed in this house on Saturday like they was my squad. Because I wanted them to beat the 49ers so bad.
Of course you did, because I know you don't like the 49ers that much either. But my point to you
I wanted them to beat the 49ers so bad I could taste it. And because I was on my passenger 57 as well, but I really just wanted them to beat the 49ers. And let me just go ahead and I'm going to put this out here. And any 49 fan is watching, just be mad. Them young boys outplayed y'all on Saturday.
They did.
They outplayed
all the way around.
Y'all
all the way around. They didn't play. If they play like that against the Lions, if they play like that against the Lions,
they had you and your team tight. And if Jordan Love had not lost his mind in situational football in the last 60 seconds of the game, y'all have been at the house passing the chips with me today. Okay?
Possibly. I'll give you that.
I on everything. I was like, what? We got this. We coming down the field. When he was getting ready to throw the ball, I was like, just throw it away. Because you got all three of your timeouts. It's like 51 seconds and it's first down. Just throw the ball away, live to play second down. We good. When he let that ball go and it was across his body,
I don't think anybody.
I turned into the mom from Good Times. Damn.
Well, I guess my point is, and here's the thing too. We talk about it, and that's why I watch the stuff, and of course I'm a fan. I watch some of the guys on TV and Ryan Clarkson and all that. Nobody had a conversation about that. Like it was talked about and then brushed over. Look, I know Jordan Love is a young quarterback and everything. What the hell, man? Like I guess my thing is there's different different topics that are more polarizing, and I guess Jordan Love is not a polarizing topic. But I'm like, we need to spend some time on that. Like, what did he think he saw that he thought he was going to be able to do with that throw? I'm like, it is not fourth down. There's not 10 seconds on the clock. Like you said, you got two. I think they had two timeouts because they just used one. I'm like, why are you throwing the ball across your body in the triple coverage in the rain? When it rained?
And not only that, if you didn't want to throw the ball away, you had space to run 3, 4, 5 yards.
Just run out of bounds. Just run for 2 yards and run out of bounds. The smart play is throw it out of bounds so you can save the seconds. And
right.
2 yards and 10 seconds. I'll take the 10 seconds.
I'll take the 10 seconds at this point. But just get ready. When he let that, oh my God, I was sick. I was sick to my stomach. But I will say this. Jordan Love, I think he's going to be fine.
It's a young team. They'll be okay.
It's a young team. They're going to bounce back because they reminded me a whole lot of the Lions last year. They didn't know they weren't supposed to be winning. They didn't know they weren't supposed to be winning. But them boys, they balled on Saturday. Because again, they did the same thing they did when they showed up in Dallas. They was like, we here, we got house money, chips all into the center of the table.
Yeah.
Chips all in the center of the
But
table.
I think the one side of the ball that was playing more, that was more surprising was the Packers defense. They actually was playing
because the last 2 weeks, all of a sudden the Packers defense actually
they realized that they actually
last
have
3 weeks.
one.
Yeah, because prior to that, nobody was sure. That we just thought that they had.
Yeah, they just had a bunch
11
of
dudes that was on that side of the ball, but they didn't.
A bunch of empty shells out there running around, pretending they was gonna tackle somebody. Like I said, if the 49ers play that way, Detroit's going to the Super Bowl, which is crazy. Detroit is going.
And listen, and let me just say, I don't know if you saw the meme that
what happened?
The meme that I dropped in there where they got a picture and it says Detroit versus Baltimore Super Bowl, and the people in the parking lot all got on long fur coats, and the black people got on the long fur coat and the golf chain. Just know that's gonna be one of the most hoodest, ghettoest Super Bowls you have ever seen.
You're gonna have gators and all types of stuff going on.
Yes, this is gonna be gators. The big hat, the big fedora hats with the feathers. Yep. It's gonna be all of the things. It's gonna be the blackest Super Bowl we've ever seen, and I am here for it.
In Vegas. What is this?
In Vegas. Do you know the debauchery that is going to take place?
I would not want to be. I would not. If Baltimore and Detroit go to the Super Bowl, I would not want to be. I would not want to be in that airport or on those airplanes, on those flights, or going on a cruise and porting out of Norfolk. It's like you go on a cruise on Carnival and port out of Norfolk if you want to. Good luck with that.
Don't do it.
I'm blocking. I'm holding my purse. Shoot. We get on the boat and they fighting in the club on the boat. I said, y'all can't even go on vacation on a cruise and be fighting in the club on the boat.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Hometown, yeah. I love my hometown. But no, you're right. If Baltimore and Detroit go to the Super Bowl, them airports and them airplane rides are going to be something to see. But talking about football, though, what I do like about Detroit, and everybody's talking about Jared Goff and everything. I never doubted Jared Goff. I thought he was okay. I thought he's a good young quarterback, and now he's an arrogant. Like, yeah,
quarterback.
Yeah, like, and I like it. I'm liking it. He's like, y'all forgot about me. They got weapons, man. Detroit's got a lot of weapons. Detroit's got a lot of weapons.
Shout out to my main man, 50 grand, Zach Ertz.
Oh yeah, that was a good pickup. That was smart. His agent is on point. His agent was on point. It's like, oh, y'all need a tight end. Hey, pick up. I got you.
Right.
And he can still ball. He can still play. But yeah, I'm telling you, the Detroit Lions got weapons. They got running backs. They got receivers. They got a tight end. They got linemen that can catch. They got a quarterback that can sling it. They got an offensive line that blocks.
And they have moxie, swagger,
man,
and a coach that is not afraid to tell you to go bite somebody's kneecap.
But what I'm saying,
biting Lions. Shout out to y'all.
You talking about house money? I mean, they're not playing like a franchise. They are like, man, we ain't thinking about them old Lion franchises. Shout out to Barry, but look, this ain't the Barry Sanders. Look. We about to
Barry Sanders line.
If y'all don't play, we gonna whip y'all. That's the way they coming in. Like, we gonna whip you. In Tampa Bay, okay, are they the most affordable? Yeah, it's Tampa Bay, but it's a playoff game. Shout out.
And not that Tampa Bay played terrible.
Shout out to Baker, man, because I'm gonna tell you, he made the pick at the end, but Baker was playing a little bit like Matt Stafford. He was throwing some throws. I was like,
yeah, like
I forgot Baker had a little.
And let me say, normally there's like one good game. This past weekend, the only game that really wasn't quote unquote good was the Texans Baltimore game, because that wasn't as competitive as I thought it was going to be.
That was the one game I thought was going to be the most competitive, and they wound up
not. And it did not develop that way at all.
Yeah, but
But the rest of the game, all the other 3 games were all good games. where it was like, oh, y'all gonna make me sit here and watch this whole game. I'm not gonna be able to get up and walk away because I might actually miss something. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining. That's just usually not what we get. And so I was excited. I was like, this is just a good weekend of good football. It really was.
It's just crazy how the teams that are wound up. I'm like Detroit, man. True. Like we kept saying it, but now it's here. Like we kept saying that this was a possible, man, I can't. Oh man, watch out if Detroit get their first home game in 30 years. First home playoff.
Right,
30.
right. And
Now it's like,
and then it was like,
out.
Oh, they actually gonna have the divisional round.
Oh, they actually won.
And here's the thing: nobody thought they would end up with the divisional round game at home because everybody figured that Dallas was gonna beat Green Bay, and Green Bay really upset the apple cart. And then we were like, oh, Detroit got another game at the house?
Man.
Oh, this what we doing?
I know Tampa Bay was like, really? Really? I mean, Tampa Bay was going to have to go on the road anyway because they would have had to go to San Francisco if Dallas would have won. But bottom line is, yeah, I was just like, that's crazy that Detroit literally is one game away from the freaking Super Bowl. And I'm not rooting against any for. I know you got the Patrick 57 thing going on. I'm not for whatever, but what do you think is the best narrative that you want to see in the Super Bowl? What do you think is in there? Because I have a couple.
Well, first of all, I have Kansas City fatigue. So I have Kansas City fatigue. I just rather not see another Super Bowl within it this year. So, and also though, I also want Lamar Jackson. If not win, I would like for him to win the Super Bowl. So I want him to get there because of, the whole, he should change from running back from QB to running back. He's not really a QB. He can't do this. He can't do that. Like, I think that would be an amazing storyline and a great give the people the finger. I won the Super Bowl. I'm here. Mm-hmm. And well, the Detroit Lions, like that, I really wanted Detroit, and I wanted Detroit Baltimore Super Bowl. One, because that's just gonna be the most ghetto blackest thing we've ever seen, and I'm here for it. But I just think both of those are just fantastic stories.
Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson is too much. I think the defense does come to play, and I personally don't think the Chiefs are going to play that same clean game against Baltimore. So that to me is what I think the difference is. I don't think Patrick Mahomes will throw picks. I just don't think they're going to be on point, and I think the defense is going to give them some trouble.
I was going to say, I don't think Baltimore's defense is going to allow them to play the same.
Right. They're going to make it messy, and they're physical, so they're going to push. They're going to push around. They're going to Patrick Mahomes is Superman. I'm gonna give it to him. He does be pulling.
Well, now, but here's the thing. Let me just say this: that running back they got,
Pacheco was dope.
That dude runs angrier than anybody I have ever seen.
Yeah, he's you know what they've been comparing him to. You know what he is. He's the modern day Marshawn Lynch. That's how he runs. He runs with. He's a little bit smaller, but he has the same kind of running style that I'm talking about the Buffalo Bills Marshawn Lynch before
he runs angry.
Right. Like it's all thighs and knees, and it's all, and he's basically trying to make you tackle him. You have to game tackle him. You cannot and that's
you can't just bring him down one. In fact, I want to say I think the best analogy comparison that I've heard was actually on the New Heights podcast. Jason Kelsey was like, dude runs like the Tasmanian devil.
Yeah, but that's...
And I was like, oh my God, that is him.
But think about the old clips and analogies they gave to Marshawn. They used to call him the Tasmanian devil at one point.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what he runs like. I like Pacheco. I was laughing.
I do too. Like,
Dave drafted him in fantasy a couple years ago.
I feel like if the Chiefs can lean into him,
they will.
What I was going to say, and the game doesn't get away from them score-wise where they don't have to abandon the run, I feel like that is going to make that game much tighter, and it's gonna come down to the end as far as turnovers go. But now, if they get behind, I just don't see how they're gonna be able to handle that defense. Like
It's
that.
funny. It's funny that I'm at to make this comment. The Chiefs need to keep it in the 20s. The Baltimore Ravens want it in the 30s. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's the truth, right? I mean, if the Chiefs keep it in the 20s, they can win, just like last week. And if the Ravens can get it in the 30s,
they can win.
They're probably more likely going to win. You know what I'm saying? So that's to me. And I think on the other side, I think it's similar. I don't think, as good as the 49ers have been on offense, I don't think they want to get into a shootout with the Lions. I think the Lions, if the Lions get to 30, it's game over. I think the San Francisco defense is probably. I'm like I said, I'm rooting for the Lions. I think they can win it. I know defense stops offenses, but my God, man, they've had answers to a lot of the questions out there so far in this playoff. So
yeah,
I mean, I think because the Buccaneers defense wasn't bad. They weren't bad this year. They weren't bad. And they at one point made them in the second half. They were just like, I mean, dude, they running by guys like, talk about the Dolphins having speed. Have you watched the Lions play?
Yeah, like, their team is fast.
Not even the team can run. Everybody can run. Except Jared Goff.
I was gonna say not Jared Goff. Jared Goff isn't going anywhere in a hurry.
Nah, he's running.
He's not going nowhere in a hurry.
He ain't running quick there. But I'm just saying. So I think the 49ers need to run the ball and keep it in the 20s, because I think if they try to get into this, we've been slinging it. We'll see. But I think the Lions are gonna win. I think it's Lions. I think we
need to see if Debo's gonna play.
If Debo doesn't play, here's the thing. What I always say. I didn't think it was Debo that was affecting the play of the offense in Purdy. I thought it was the offensive tackle, because I think
Trent Williams.
And I think it just like I don't care what anybody says about backups. Some guys get paid big money for a reason, and sometimes you just can't scheme around an all-pro tackle. You can do it a little bit, but every now and then the new guy's gonna get beat unless you just happen to find the next Trent Williams behind him. I don't know. Sometimes that happens. I don't know. You can coach up a person, but they're not the same as the all-pro.
And then, but sometimes you can put a dude in that's not the same as the all-pro, but he doesn't get beat badly. Whereas, like for us, our backup, I knew that's where you was going. For Lane Johnson, Father God, he is god awful, and how we don't draft somebody this year to replace that scrub.
They're going to. But I think Debo.
Every time we see him coming, we like, God, listen. We was like, Jalen gonna run for his life the rest of the night. It's terrible.
I think Debo if they know he's not playing, they will plan around it. But if he's playing and then he goes out, then you got to make adjustments. I would actually just play. I would think Shanahan would have an answer. And the funny thing is, he has the answer to the test. He's right there in the backfield. I mean, how many plays did we see Purdy just swinging out to McCaffrey? Just swing it out to him. But what I'm saying is, when in doubt, that's 4 yards of play. Like, boom, boom.
Again, Christian McCaffrey's the MVP. I said what I said.
I don't think anybody in their right mind, even the San Francisco 49ers, would disagree with you that dude is that good. Because that's what I'm saying. I know Debo is that, but I'm not. I can't. I know Debo is I know he's a difference maker. It ain't the same. You still got CMC, man. You still got CMC. You still got CMC. You still should be able to win that game. But I still think Detroit's going to win that game. And I'm going to leave it at that. I really do. I don't know why. I'm trying to get saying I think Detroit's going to win.
Boys and girls, you have our pick. Detroit and Baltimore.
Yeah, Furs and Gators. Here we go. Furs and Gators, man.
Furs and Gators. And fedoras with feathers in the cap. Y'all ready? I'm ready. Let's
Shout out again to the South Carolina women's team. They play LSU game, ESPN game day or whatever they're gonna be down in Baton Rouge for that game. So South Carolina goes to LSU this week. So we'll see what happens with that. But I think they should handle the
But
business.
good luck to him. Good luck to him.
I
And
mean,
again,
yeah,
shout
the
out to
women's
Joel
game.
Embiid for 70 points.
Jesus Christ, man.
All right.
Out.
Holla.
Yep.